Hey, what's happening, guys? Anthony here. I hope everyone's doing great. Today I want to talk about The Man Who Invented Christmas, directed by Bharat Nalluri, starring Dan Stevens as Charles Dickens and Christopher Plummer as Ebenezer Scrooge. This film portrays the life of author Charles Dickens as he wrote the famous novel A Christmas Carol. I really enjoyed this movie despite it being much different than what I was expecting. From the trailers, I was kind of anticipating something much more upbeat and kind of focusing on the story of A Christmas Carol, but it was really much more than that. This was a look inside the mind of Charles Dickens and his life leading up to and while he wrote this novel. The trailers for this film definitely showcase more of the lighter moments and they overlay it with that familiar holiday jingle, but it was a considerably darker story in tone, in a sense that there was a lot of pressure on Dickens to write a successful novel. His wealth and social status at the time were dwindling away, and he suffered through a lot of torment from himself and those around him that doubted if he had another book in him. Dickens was highly intense and honestly not an easy person to be around, and I think this storyline captured that perfectly. I was able to connect with the emotional investment Dickens had knowing that this novel was going to be a success, and from that aspect, despite him not being that likable at times, I was still really able to invest in his motives. We all know the famous novel and the characters in it. This film kind of expects that, and it's able to focus on Dickens and his process of creating the characters and all the dynamics, as well as exploring all the risks in his life he took to get the book financed, from publishing down to the illustrations. This film is set in the early 1840s, and Dickens hadn't had a successful novel since Oliver Twist in 1838. He was showing some signs of self-doubt, as well as scrutiny from all of those around him in the book community that wondered if he had already peaked, and all of this just fueled the desire for Dickens to get this novel written and published by Christmas, which was just very intriguing to watch play out. I think Dan Stevens as Charles Dickens was excellent. He was charming and charismatic. He delivered the dialogue with a lot of energy. He captures the range of emotions for this role effectively, and I think his delivery was well suited to the overall theatrical kind of stage play feel this movie had. I thought Christopher Plummer was a great representation of Ebenezer Scrooge, and he really did a great job of capturing the essence of who this character was. He sells the hatefulness of the character we all know from the novel perfectly, and despite the character having been done really many times before, I think Plummer was really still able to put his unique stamp on it. I really enjoyed how this film wove the story of Dickens' life and his writing process as he wrote the novel, and how the novel itself played out in his head as he progresses through it, and I thought it incorporated both story angles together perfectly. I thought the direction was extremely well done. It was very visually appealing. It was effectively able to capture the time period. There's some subtle sprinklings of special effects here and there. The set design, backdrops, and wardrobes are all extremely well done, and it wove it all together to really pull me into the world of this story and keep me interested. And overall, The Man Who Invented Christmas is going to get 90% on the entertainment meter. I enjoyed it. I think it could have been a little bit longer. The story did have a good pace, but it did feel like it jumped in certain places as far as progression, and it didn't show me as much as I wanted in certain areas as they did others, but I still really enjoyed it. And those are my thoughts on The Man Who Invented Christmas, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That'd be great. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe so you can catch all the new reviews. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. Definitely appreciate it. I'm Anthony. This is the Silver Screen Analysis, and I'll see you at the movies.